Hey guys, Josh Koerner here. Hope you've been having a great day today. I want to start out this conversation by saying no matter what you think of the EOS R, the Z6, the Z7, the A7s, that whole family of cameras, it's fantastic. No matter what boxes you think these do or do not check for you, I think it's fantastic that we have all three players in the game right now. This means that over time, not immediately, but over time, there will be so much more competition for our attention, for our dollars. And so we're gonna see more and better options on the table than ever before. And this is gonna be really powerful for us. And I'm really excited about that. So let's dive into what this video is supposed to be, a comparison here quick between the EOS R, the A7 III, and the Z6, Z7. So the big thing for me is that the A7 III is hands down a better hybrid camera, right? It does the 10 FPS with auto exposure, with full autofocus. Neither of the other two options, or three options, do that. The Canon maxes out its best tracking at 3 FPS. It can do 8, but it locks down the exposure and the autofocus. It does 5 with reasonable tracking, but then that will shut down the image stabilization and some long telephoto primes that Canon does. The Z6, Z7, happiest around 5, lots of blackout on both sides. Great EVFs, better than in the A7 III, but you know, you gotta have the autofocus, you gotta have the frame rate, and the Sony has those. Now the Sony doesn't have the 10-bit 422 out that the Nikons have. It doesn't have the 400 odd megabits a second that the Canon does for 4K, but it does have 1080p 120, which the Canon doesn't have. It does do a lot really well in body with S-Log, with HLG, that the Nikons don't do. You can pick up an A7 III and go and make, and that's awesome. If you haven't already, make sure to motor drive all over that like button. Now, the other thing is that you need a battery grip to get the full performance out of your Nikons, and with the Canon, you know, it's not gonna come close to either of those across the board. So DPAF is something that I've long felt is very much overrated. This is a huge vindication for me that DPAF can only do 3 frames a second. I know I should really get off that boat, but God, it feels so good. 5 FPS is not enough, even with poor tracking. I have shot 90 frame bursts with full autofocus functionality on my A7 III in crop mode, admittedly. And I've had great autofocus, I've had great auto exposure, and being able to do that just for the fun of it, because that's completely wasteful, is so cool. And it's so important for real professionals in wildlife, in sports. The durability of the Nikons stands above that of the Sonys and the Canons of the world in this comparison. You're going to want a Nikon if you're a landscape photographer. You're not going to want to use either the Canons or the Nikons if you're an event photographer, because only the Sony has dual card slots. IBIS is something that both the Sony and the Nikons have, but the Sony's is a little bit better, noticeably so. Canon doesn't have it. That's a problem. You know, I've seen a lot of comments like 1 card slot, no IBIS, and there's something else. 3 FPS, welcome to 2012, right? And that's, a lot of people are thinking that the EOS R is not the camera that Canon should have come out with. But they've done something really interesting. They put the 30 megapixel sensor in there. They did the 1DX2 style of video recording to UHS-2 cards, which is new for Canon. Normally they make you get a CFast card or something like that. But then they crippled the stills functionality. The stills functionality should have shown really well, and they're doing that to hit a price point, perhaps, but it feels like the EOS R is a camera that the 6D Mark II should have been, right? It would have been a great 6D Mark II, and it's not. It's a little bit late for that, right? And the A7 III has really picked up the slack across that board. Now the Nikons are great cameras, and they're going to be very flexible for a ton of shooters, but I think that as a total package, for someone who's going to shoot both stills and video, you gotta go with the Sony. Both Canon and Nikon or Canon and Nikon, have focused a little bit too heavily on video. And that's not something that you hear often with those brands with hybrid cameras, but I really feel like if Canon had said, you know what, we're going to put a little bit more effort in the DPAF in this camera, if Nikon had said, you know what, we're going to go for a few more frames a second, because they got the autofocus way better than Canon did. Not quite as good as Sony, but you know, they have the prestige, but they didn't get the execution. I feel like, you know, everybody could be on a lot more of a par than we are right now. Nevertheless, what I said before still stands. I'm so glad that everybody's in the same space, jostling for market share, jostling for our attention and our dollars. It's only that way that we're going to get the cameras, the devices that we need for professional work, that we want for our hobby work, for our passion projects, for the creative outlet that all of us are here for. So I'm really excited. I know the EOS R is not everybody's favorite device. I know it's let a lot of people down already. I know the Nikons aren't everybody's favorite device. I know they've let a lot of people down already. I know Sony as a brand doesn't get the best rap with a lot of people. I don't get it personally, because in my mind, the camera's a tool. The Sony does the job that I need the tool to do the best right now. So that's why I go Sony, but I still do shoot Canon. I still am interested in Fuji and Panasonic and everybody else, so I hope I'm not too much of a fanboy, but I guess, you know, I guess you're gonna call me one anyway. Anyway, I so much appreciate your time and your attention in this video. Thank you so much for checking out the affiliate links for the gear that I used to make this video, for liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.